Hello everybody and welcome to Bazaar, where once a week we take a look at a interesting, unique, wonderful, or weird indie game. And today we have something that is very much wonderful, but two quick administrative notes right off the bat. One is that I'm still quite sick, as I mentioned in my last update video, so if I sound a bit less articulate than normal, please forgive me for that. The one relating more to this particular game, I actually received a copy of this for free from the developer. It is normally $5. I received it. I didn't get it as a review code explicitly, just as a gift essentially. But if you think that might influence my opinion in some way, I figured it was better to let the audience know than to not. But anyway, let's dive right in here. This is developed by Shy Soar. And what we got here, basically, let's start a new game. One little administrative criticism right off the bat. I don't think there's a way to actually have multiple save files, so I think I just erased my old game, but that's okay, because I actually finished this game. I didn't 100% it, but I got the, the basic ending, or whatever you'd like to call it. So what you basically got here is a collectathon platformer, but in 2D, and with this art style that kind of... I don't know what to call it, really. It reminds me of a sort of, like, non-specific older computer. I don't... that kind of is a vague way to put it, I guess, but... like, it's not quite a Commodore look, it's not quite an old Windows look, it's something else, but still obviously inspired by that era of computer gaming. Or at least that's how it looks to me, I don't know. I don't personally know anybody at Shy Soar, so maybe they had something else in mind, but that's how it scans to me, personally. So our dinosaur friend here's got a couple basic moves. Basically, it's your fairly standard, run and jump, that kind of deal. We can do a double jump. We've got the Y button, or the triangle, since I'm using a DualShock, lets us return to our previous checkpoint. And there's a zoom out function mapped to the circle or the B button, and that lets you just kind of get a wider picture of your area. There's also this, and what that does is there are various checkpoints scattered throughout the world that you can teleport to using that button. And, I mean, that's the gist of it right there. So, I think what the selling point is for this, and the reason that I like it, and I actually do like it quite a lot, if I'll tell you, right up front, is, something, it's kind of become a recurring theme on this channel, is I like games that are very, straightforward and kind of are... I don't want to say unpretentious, because I think that would make people think that I think there are a lot of pretentious games, and I largely don't. I actually think that most people who make video games love the medium regardless of, how they choose to present their own games. I guess more what I'm going for is that it's just very pure and, like, it's very straightforward, right? Here's your character, here's these weird little ring-shaped coins you need to collect, and that's the gist of it. Now go ahead and look around, and I appreciate that. Oh, you know what, there's these signs here that help us, and this one is pointing to the nearest checkpoint, and also a diamond. I forgot about the diamonds. There's, I think, 5 or 7 of those that you can get, and that's kind of another collectible. There's only a couple of them in the game. So your goal in Rex, basically, you're just trying to reach the end of the game. There are no levels, it's all one contiguous area. And there are multiple endings. There is one that's just for reaching the end of the game, one for getting all the diamonds, and one for getting all of the coins. And in fact, if you look up in the top, you'll see 2 yellow sets of numbers on the upper right-hand corner. And one of those numbers is how many rings we have collected in this area out of how many we have total. And I believe the other is... What is the other number? 70. I think that might be how many rings we've collected in all. I'm actually not 100% sure. No, because we just got an extra one. And then a little white number pops up under that to show how many you're currently carrying. You do lose your rings if you don't get to a checkpoint before dying. Which is why I think, you know, it creates a sort of self-modulated difficulty. You can kind of choose how hard you want to make the game be on yourself. Me, I'm kind of an idiot. I like to go for, you gotta get all the rings in a given area before going back to the checkpoint. Obviously, that only lasts as long as I'm doing well on a particular area. You know, I think, and this is probably true of many players, although certainly not all of them, I think you tend to revert to a somewhat more conservative play style if you end up losing a bunch. And there you go, we got one of the diamonds, and we just hit one of the checkpoints. I shouldn't really call those checkpoints, they're more like teleporters. And that little jingle plays when we get all of the rings in an area. In fact, if you use the zoom out function here, you'll see they've got them listed. We got the beach, which is where we came in, the ruins, and the lighthouse, which is the area we just got all of the rings in. And you can see we can now use this teleporter here if we are so inclined. There's, what, 5 of them? Yeah. It's not a huge game. I managed to knock out the basic ending in a day or so. But the game is only $5, so I mean, I think that's fair. It reminds me a lot of Super Win the Game, which is another game that I think is very straightforward like this, although that one is also kind of, it's larger than this, but I think it might also cost more. Actually, not sure how much that costs, but as I've said before on the show, I don't really subscribe directly to the, you know, bigger games should cost more, smaller games should cost less school of thought. Hold on one second, yeah, alright. I am of the opinion that devs can charge what they want, and people will either pay or not. But if you're asking me, you know, do I think $5 is a fair price for a game like this? Yeah, obviously, I think so. You know, that's like the cost of like a chicken nugget meal at McDonald's. I think that's more than fair for a game like this. It's kind of mysterious too. I do like that about it. Like there's really no backstory. There is if I may very slightly spoil something, there is a tiny bit of plot, at least when you get the normal ending, but it's not really a narrative game like that. It's just kind of a, you know, here's your little purple dinosaur man. Here's your world. Go explore. Go find all the coins. And I like that. I think it's you know, sort of the Zelda 1 ethos of just kind of dropping you into this world and letting you figure it out on your own. Obviously, it's not everybody's thing, but I like it. Getting some of these rings does get pretty hard. You know, it's not Super Meat Boy or anything, but it can get pretty tricky, especially in later areas. Let's see here. Yeah. Pardon me. And I mean, honestly, that's the gist of Rex Another Island. I say gist a lot in these videos. I only just realized that now, but I do like the word. It's useful. The essential core of something, but not necessarily all the details. It's a very easy game to pick up, too. It's, you know, run and jump are really your only controls, other than the zoom out and the teleport stuff. Another thing that kind of reminds me of, like, this could be like a Super Nintendo game, maybe. I think most Super Nintendo games used, like, larger sprites than this, but I think that was more... Yeah, I'm not going to say that that was more of an aesthetic decision. I honestly don't know very much about the hardware capabilities of the SNES, so I'm not going to blow smoke like that. Point is, it's a pretty looking game, right? Like, very colorful pixel graphics, and I know a lot of people are kind of over pixel graphics, but I don't know. I think that it done well, and this is a game that I would say does them quite well. Oh no, we fell. They can be very nice to look at. Now, I will say some of the later areas especially could use like a tiny bit more visual coherence. There's like these green platforms that you can drop through. You see these in later areas too, where green is no longer the dominant color scheme, and maybe they could have changed that, but you know, that's minor. There's a couple like, what would I call them? Like, technical things that kind of bother me. Like, for instance, I don't think there's a way to get the game to run in a window, or if there is, I haven't figured it out. And for whatever reason, you guys might not be able to see it because I disabled the capture mouse cursor, but your mouse cursor is just visible over top of the game, even though it doesn't do anything other than navigate the menus. It does have controller support, even of my DualShock 4, which is nice. Although, weirdly, only the D-pad and the buttons. The thumbsticks just do not do anything, which isn't really a big problem for a game like this, but it is kind of strange. But again, these are all like pretty minor criticisms, and I do believe that Shy-Sor is just a couple people, if not just one, so, you know. There was actually an additional credit for the music too, and I should shout out the music because I really do like the soundtrack in this game quite a lot. This is one of those games I think they could definitely get away with, like, selling a deluxe edition that is like a couple dollars more and comes with the soundtrack and maybe like a little art book or something. Not that I'm, you know, trying to armchair businessman any of these people, but just saying, I think that would be pretty neat. Cave area here kind of reminds me like a little bit of the caves from the original Super Mario Brothers game. The NES one, although I had it on the Game Boy as a young lass. Yeah, again, the way that I kind of judge when I should stop these videos is when I reach the point where I'm just sort of rambling, and I think I've perhaps reached that point here, talking about irrelevant stuff about my childhood love of the Game Boy. Good system, though. We will, I really want to get down there. Maybe I'll just try to get these 3 rings and I'll drop down. There we go. Alright, we'll call it there. So yeah, that is... Oh, I forgot the pause button turned the music off. That is Rex Another Island. It's on Steam for $5. It might be on other stores as well. I will look around, and if I find other locations that it is offered, I will post links to those in the description, in the video description as well. I am PJ. This is Indie Bazaar. If you'd like to receive a new episode in your subscription box every Wednesday, you can hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to support the show, there is a Patreon link at the very, very bottom of the video description. And as always, any money I make off of the Patreon goes right back into buying more games for the show and for my live streams on the weekends. So, with that said, I am PJ. Again, you, as always, are yourself. We'll see you next week.